Good morning, K1. We finally found a new book on robots with Nahel, so that's called Norton and Alpha. So Norton is a robot. This is Norton, the robot. Norton was a collector, battered wheels, rusty cogs, broken springs, but best of all were the things Norton didn't have a name for. So you see, Norton is picking up a lot of broken things from garbage, and he doesn't know what to do with it, so he's putting it in his basket. Norton found interesting things almost everywhere he looked. They were rarely beautiful, but they were usually useful. You see, a glass, a vase, a bar. And from what he found, big or small, Norton made the most amazing invention. See what he's using this to fill up his tank with oil because it's a robot. That's the oil pump. One day, Norton found something interesting he couldn't name. That's a spring and a ball. He attached it to his latest project and then stood back. It was perfect. Norton decided to call the project Alpha. So he invented a dog. Now Norton had a companion to help with his collecting. Alpha would follow his little robot nose off down unknown path. He dug holes, scurried into small, unreachable places, delved into unexplored spaces, and found all sorts of wonderful things. One day, Alpha's nose felt slightly odd. It tickled and tingled and led him to do something very unusual. So, follow the nose and you see something a bit unusual. A flower. Norton was baffled. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. But what was it? Woof woof, said the dog. They never saw a flower. Norton and Alpha were determined to find out. So with a bit of effort, they picked it. Look, they pulled it out of the soil. They could have broken it. And they set off on their way home. So they live in the sky. Norton held onto it tightly. He didn't take his eyes off it for a moment, except to climb the ladder up to his house. Norton went straight to his workshop. You saw he did a lot of experiments. So he put oil onto the flower, and clearly the flower doesn't like the oil. He did all his usual scientific experiments. So he oiled it, but it's not a robot, so it doesn't like oil. He tried to plug in it. So what he did here, he put electricity on the flower, but clearly the flower doesn't like it, because it's not a robot. And he even x-rayed, but again, that's not a robot. So you saw the dog, you see all the wheels inside, but the flower doesn't have it. But that confused Norton even more. It didn't seem useful at all. It also didn't look nearly as interesting. So what happened? As it had when they would first found it, he threw it away. So that's the house of Norton. So Norton threw it out of the window. So that's the house there, and he threw it, and now the flower is there. For the rest of the day, Norton and Alpha tidied up the mess left over from their experiments. They found a little round something that it had left behind. So there was a left behind from the flower, so they put it in a vase here. Norton decided to keep it. Maybe one day he would find it a use for it. So he kept a small piece of flower in a vase and he put it in the on the shelves. One day it was far too wet to go out collecting. But Alpha still needed his exercise, so you saw. He is spinning a wheel to run, so he was running after this. And then on Thursday it was extremely hot. Norton and Alpha spent most of the day trying to keep cool. Because it's sunny. But on Friday it was a perfect day for treasure hunting. The weather was glorious, so Norton made sure they had a hearty breakfast. So do you see the hearty breakfast? It's all made of oil for Robot. So he's drinking oil, and the dog also is drinking oil. Then he oiled their joints and got everything ready for a long day collecting. They ran to the doors, they flung them open, and what they saw was, woo! A big field of flowers, beautiful. Norton and Alpha bounce and jump among the fields of its. So he doesn't know the name, so he's called it its. They collected up lots of its and carried them home. Norton forgot about trying to find out what it was for, but one thing he did know was it made him smile. You saw? The flower made him smile. So what happened if we look at it? That's a robot that pick up a live vegetable flower. He threw it from the window on the soil. You see there is nothing on the soil here. But the day after there was a lot of rain, and the day after a lot of sun. So rain plus sun is good for the flowers. So it took them few days to get the water out of the soil plus the sun, and all these flowers grew up, and there were so many, and you can see all the old garbage, the wheels and so on. Voilà. That's the end of the story about a robot. Have a good day. Bye bye.